to the first University Seminar Workshop for Purposive Communication of Team Excellence of Mariano Marcos State University with the theme Follow Your Strengths and Skills to Great Public Speaking. Miss Strawberry Manuel for the official opening of the first University Seminar Workshop for Purposive Communication.
To our guests of honor and speaker, Mom, Sir, other guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to one and all. First and foremost, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being with us today. Thank you for generously on helping us to make it come together and become successful. We are very pleased to welcome you all. Welcome. We all know that public speaking is very important and a treated form of communication. So today is very special one because each one of our speakers will introduce and explain briefly the purposes of public speaking. So sit back and relax. Enjoy the presentation, watch and listen very carefully. Once again, I welcome you all.
Ms. Shanina Tambio for the overview of the conference objectives and flow.
As we go on the definition of different types of speeches, we will also discuss the purpose and how it will captivate, enlighten, alter the viewpoint on a controversial issue, and convince us listener on the viewpoint of the speakers. We will also witness the surprise of team excellence to our viewers. So sit, relax, listen, and enjoy to our presentation.
We are privileged to have as our two guest speakers today for argumentative speech purposes, Ms. Janelle Baniaga, a food trade teacher of Burgos Agro-Industrial School.
Argumentative speech is the first part of persuasive public speaking. Argumentative speeches are open about hot topics and they encourage the audience to change their views or opinions on a topic. The speaker shows an obvious problem at the beginning of the speech and then moves on to show proof of that problem and then suggests a solution in the body. The conclusion sums up the speech's main idea and supporting points and should leave the audience ready to make a decision based on what they just heard. When delivering an argumentative speech, the speaker must be careful to use facts rather than emotion to support the chosen claim, and it is important to avoid bias. The purpose of argumentative speech is to present and defend an argument in favor of some point of view and might be convincing those who are educated and intelligent on its topic.
And Ms. Laika Riveral, a teacher of Pasaling National High School.
It also aims to radically change the opinions already held by the audience. This enables them to explore alternative perspective about an issue to eventually arrive to the best idea, position, or beliefs.
Thank you. It was a very precise and relevant presentation. I would now like to welcome our next three guest speakers for persuasive speech purposes. We are extremely honored to welcome Ms. Hansday Ramos, a teacher of Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing High School.
The ultimate goal of persuasive speech is action. That is, successful persuasion reinforces existing behavior. When a speaker's main goal is to achieve action, he or she also seeks for one of the four sub-goals, which is adoption, discontinuance, deterrence, or continuance of a particular behavior.
Adoption, an action that asks listeners to demonstrate their acceptance of an attitude, belief, or value by performing the action suggested by the speaker. For example, assume you never wanted to donate blood, but then you see a commercial pleading for blood to help victims of a recent disaster. If you give blood the next day, you would be displaying adoption. Discontinuance, the opposite of adoption. When your action goal is discontinuance, you want your listeners to stop doing something. For example, you want your listeners to stop using illegal drugs. So, you focus on all the problems drug use can cause. Deterrence, an action goal that asks the listeners to demonstrate their acceptance of an attitude, belief, or value by avoiding a certain behavior. For example, if you don't eat junk food, don't start now. If you don't own a gun, don't buy one. Continuance, an action goal that asks the listeners to demonstrate their acceptance of an attitude, belief, or value by continuing to perform a certain behavior. For example, keep jogging for your health. Keep reading for pleasure. Stay involved in extracurricular activities.
Miss Shanina Tambio, a teacher of Ilocos Norte College of Arts and Trades.
A persuasive speech is a specific type of speech in which a speaker has a goal to convince the audience his or her point of view. This speech is arranged in such a way to hopefully cause the audience to accept all or part of the point of view. Logic appeals are arguments that present a set of information and show why a conclusion must rationally be true. For example, arguments heard in court are logical arguments. Also, debates that shows in school or universities. Emotional appeals are appeals that seek to make the audience feel a certain way so that they will accept a conclusion. In order to succeed in delivering the persuasive speech, the words must be convincing and easily to persuade so that the audience catches your point perfectly. Also, the body language of the speaker and environment in which the speech is given can affect the success of persuasive speech.
And Miss Queen Zarina Ariola, a teacher of Shamrock Elementary School.
Persuasive speech is used when presenters decide to convince their presentation or ideas to their listeners. Their goal is to convince or persuade people to believe in a certain point of view. The purpose of persuasive speech is used to convince or persuade the reader that the opinion or claim of the writer is correct or valid. Persuasion is more selfish than argument or debate. Argument attempts to arrive at a logical solution to an issue, but persuasive speech is concerned primarily with convincing the reader at any cost. Various appeals are used to manipulate the reader. Persuasive speech has a definite bias or lack of objectivity. Its function is to change the mind of the reader or to move the reader to action. Because of its goal, the persuasive is usually the primary purpose in a piece of writing. The author may supplement the persuasive with any other of the purposes.
Thank you very much, speakers. A very thought-provoking and insightful presentation indeed. We are privileged also to have as our next two guest speaker for entertainment speech purposes, Mark Winnie Espejo, a teacher of Data Center College of Lawag.
In the context of this, entertaining speech is one whose sole purpose is to have the audience enjoy the presentation. How to write an entertaining speech. There are many ways to entertain an audience. You can tell jokes, tell funny stories, dramatize an anecdote, tell a scary story. The purpose of an entertaining speech is not to educate, inform, or inspire. It is to make the audience smile, relax, enjoy, and maybe even laugh their heads off. Of course, although many, if not most, entertaining speeches are funny, they do not need to include humor to be entertaining. Dramas are entertaining but not funny, right?
And Miss Princess Manuel, a teacher of Pidig National High School.
Is a form of activity that holds the attention and interest of an audience or give pleasure and delight. It can be an idea or a task. but is more likely to be one of the activities or events that develop over thousands of years, especially in the purpose of keeping an audience's attention. In broad terms, an entertaining speech is a speech designed to captivate audience attention and regulate or amuse them while delivering a message. Like more traditional, informative, and persuasive speeches, entertaining speeches should communicate a clear message. But the manner of speaking in entertaining speech is typically different. To help us think on how to become effective in delivering entertaining speeches, let's look for the four key ingredients. First, be prepared. Second, adaptation to the occasion. Third, adaptation to the audience. And fourth, be mindful about the time.
Be prepared. First and foremost, the biggest mistake you can make when standing to deliver an entertaining speech is to underprepare or simply not prepare at all. Be adaptive to the occasion. Not all content is appropriate for all occasions. If you are asked to deliver a speech commemorating the first anniversary of a school shooting, then obviously, using humor and telling jokes wouldn't be appropriate. Be mindful of the time. The last major consideration for delivering entertaining speeches successfully is to mindful of your time.
To hold audience attention and fulfill the goal of entertaining would do well to make closing minutes of the speech most engaging and inspiring portion of the speech.
Thank you. Your thoughts are going to stay with all of us. I would now like to welcome our last two guest speakers. For informative speech purposes, we are extremely honored to welcome Mr. Nathaniel Dave Gatchalian, an Associate Professor of Mariano Marcos State University.
Hello, I am Nathaniel Dave Gatchalian, Associate Professor of Mariano Marcos State University. I am here to tackle about the purposes of informative speech. We're going to focus on the three main goals or purposes of informative speech. One is to enhance the understanding of the audience. Next is to maintain the interest of the audience. And the final goal is for the audience to remember the speech.
An effective informative speech requires the speaker to aim for a series of goals, and similar to a soccer match, hitting these goals increases the likelihood of a successful speech. The main goals for an informative speech are to help explain a specific subject and to help the audience remember the knowledge later. One of the goals, perhaps the most essential goal that drives all informative speech, is for the speaker to inform the audience about a particular topic. In order to aim for this specific goal, a speaker should consider how best to package the complex understanding that they have cultivated of the topic, from personal experience and research into an easily communicable form for the audience. A final significant goal and effective informative speech is to make the audience remember. To make sure that the information contained in a speech is remembered by the audience, the deliverer of informative speech should combine organization, repetition, and focused visualization. To increase the effectiveness of the speech and the likelihood that the audience will live informed, one way to help an audience remember the details of informative speech is to maintain the interest of the audience.
The challenge of informative speech is to deliver this speech in a neutral way that does not bore the audience. Unlike persuasive speech, which rely heavily on emotional appeal. Before I end my discussion for today, I would like to leave one quote that I have kept in my mind and in my heart. A good speech is like a pencil. It has to have a point. I am Nathaniel Dave Gatchalian. Good day and goodbye.
and Miss Jessa Ramos, a teacher of Stan Academy.
An informative speech is one that intends to educate the audience on a particular topic. The purposes of informative speech are the following. First is to inform the audience about a given topic. In order to aim a specific goal, speakers should consider how best to package the complex understanding that they have cultivated of the topic, from personal experience and research into an easily communicable form for the audience. Second is to maintain the interest of the audience. The challenge of informative speech is delivering information in a neutral way that does not bore the audience. And last is for the audience to enlighten and have a clear understanding regarding a topic.
There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The first university seminar workshop for purposive communication of Team Excellence with the theme Follow Your Strengths and Skills to Great Public Speaking. I hope you have found this morning's presentations informative and useful. To officially close the first university seminar workshop, the public speaking song of Team Excellence. Thank you for being with us.
There are different types of speeches. They have purposes that we can possess. Your goal is to influence, to win over the crowd, to inform people, to motivate people. Public speaking when you call. Informative, argumentative, entertainment, persuasive. This is speech we give love and joy, therefore we love our professor. Informative, argumentative, entertainment, persuasive. This is speech we give love and joy, surrounding Max is our professor. Formative speech is to provide enlightenment. Argumentative speech to present and to defend. Entertainment speech hold the attention and interest. Persuasive speech is to convince and treat the audience. Informative, argumentative, entertainment, persuasive. This is speech we give love and joy, therefore we love our professor. Informative, argumentative, entertainment, persuasive. This is speech we give love and joy, surrounding Max is our professor. Workcom is the best, public speaking is the best, communication is the best. Team Excellence.